Hello.
Jesse, why are you judging, man?
I'm a judgmental person. I judge myself. That's why I judge others because I judge myself. And I accept that. I own it. I own that about myself. Um, anyway, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the
The
Hidden
Hidden
Isles
Cup Podcast.
podcast. This is Jesse,
Now I'm Ruben.
and we are back again with a Spartan's journal, fully stashed, fully sexual. It's a good time. How has the stash life been treating you, man?
I like it. I'm getting a lot of compliments on it. The only
Hmm.
two people who don't like it and don't give me compliments is my own very own partner, Karina, and my mother. They were both
Yo, man,
shaving.
yo. What? So Karina hasn't adapted to it at all.
No, but all my friends are like, man, that stash looks good on you, or like, it looks cool. Or like you look like you're from the 70s. Like I'm getting all
Even my girlfriend thinks your stash looks pretty dope.
thank you. And that's what I'm getting. But the two closest people in my life are like, no, shave it.
It's because your sex appeal is so strong that they don't want, you know how it is, man. They don't want that for getting fucked up and all. Yeah, my mom she's hilarious. She's like, no. I'm like, you don't like my she's like, I'm like, did you see my mustache? And she's like, yeah. I'm like, do you like it? She's like, no. I was like, not at all. She's like, especially with that face, you're gonna get a mustache. It sickens me. I was like, seriously? It's just a mustache. And she's like, no,
Wow.
it's terrible. Yeah. She's like, based on like what you can look like, the fact that you do that to your face is unbelievable. I was like, I feel like I look pretty good. I go, Valentina, for those who don't know, Valentina is my girlfriend. I go, Valentina likes it. She goes, no, she doesn't. No, she doesn't. There's no way she likes it. I was like, I'm pretty sure she told me she likes it.
Why are moms always the hardest ones on us? They're like, I have this theory. I'm like, I think moms, because my mom likes me best when I have like my cut really short, like my hair not
Hmm.
long, that I'm completely face like shaven because I look like a boy.
Yeah, exactly.
Obviously, they want their boy. And I'm like, the minute you grow the hair, it's like the man is coming out. And they're like, no, we want the boy.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. I think so too. Well, it's interesting because I hadn't thought about this except a couple days ago. And I haven't brought it up to my dad yet, but my grandfather, who's on my dad's side, he had a mustache when my dad was young. There's a picture of him, and he's got a really thick mustache. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. That like, you know, I guess it makes because I have some of my dad's features, so inherently I have some of my grandfather's features. Um, and I'm like, oh, it's kind of cool to be like rocking the stash like my grandpa did, way back when in the Soviet Union. So it's kind
Right.
of cool.
That's
Um,
dope, man. I only know my grandfather. He keeps a stash, like from our dad's side. I don't
mhm.
know anything about my grandfather. I've never seen pictures of him. So on my mom's
Oh,
side,
really?
yeah, I don't know because they both my grandparents on my mom's side passed away
Mm,
before I was
yeah,
born. So
yeah.
I never got that. And I always was like, I always have a hard time growing like hair, facial hair throughout my
Mhm.
whole life. So it's just recently, like past 25, where like it really started to come in.
Mhm.
And what I've been telling my mom is like, it's for a great cause. This is why I'm doing it. It's for a great cause. She's like, I don't care. I can't wait for December 1st when you shave it. I was like, that's if I shave it.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm with you, man. I'm kind of liking it. I feel like um, yeah, I don't know. I feel like it just gives me a different vibe
Yeah.
and pretty
Helps me
fun.
run better. No, I'm kidding.
Yo, I agree. I feel like more militant with it. You know what I mean? I
Right.
feel militant when I'm out there. And every time someone looks at me, I'm like, they're looking at my stash. Like that's what goes through my head. I'm like, they're checking out my stash right now. That's right, peep it, peep my stash, yo. So
Seriously. It makes me aerodynamic.
aerodynamic. Well, yeah, it's got the wings,
It got the wings.
makes you fly. Yeah, it's cool, man. Good.
Oh man. Anyway,
Anyway,
time
yeah.
to time to update the folks. I know that was a fun little intro there.
Yes, this has been a project. This has been a fun little project.
Right.
All right, well, where should we start? I feel like I know we did one recently, but I feel like it's been so long.
2 weeks.
Uh,
Yeah. I mean, so.
yeah, I mean, so I guess I'll pick up. So the mileage is definitely starting to get intense, which is nice. It's not nice for uh, efficiency of time
Mm-mm.
because it's so time consuming to run. So you just got to make sure you get it in at the right time. One of the main things I've been working on since we last spoke, or two things actually, is one, running during the day, because like running during the night for me is not a good time. It fucks everything up. I don't actually like the run. I liked it when it was like 2 miles. Like if it was a 2 mile run or a 3 mile run, like, all right, I could bang that out 20, 30 minutes, go back home. I'm good. But you're going into 4 miles, 5 miles, 6 miles. These are long ass fucking runs and it's exhausting and your heart rate's through the roof and you're trying to calm down at night and it's not a good time. So I've really been working on that. And as far as my other training goes, so for some of you guys don't know this, I actually joined a gym in my neighborhood that opened back up. And initially I was excited to go because I was like, oh, I get to lift. I mean, I got some kettlebells at home, but I was like, oh, I get to lift again. I get to, go heavy again. And what I started to notice was actually all the lifting was done. And I mentioned this, well, as a podcast coming out soon with our buddy Jordan Seda, which was a great episode. I mentioned this in the conversation, which was basically I was doing everything really heavy and frontal load. And when you're running, um, when you're doing all that endurance and all the load that it does on your spine and on your back and on your legs too, match that with even more load from lifting heavy weights, I started to get really stiff again and just like tight. Um, and that's when I recognized that I was like, I need to go back to doing body weight exercises or like functional training with kettlebells. And so since then, I actually just got rid of the membership and started training from home again. And I feel like it's absolutely helped in recovery and keeping everything mobile and making sure I'm feeling good when I'm running because I do a lot more twisting exercises with the steel mace. And I try to really incorporate a twist in every workout now,
Yeah.
so and play around with different planes of motion because yeah, all that running where you're just straightforward for an hour, sometimes more, um, definitely can take a toll on you. So that's a huge thing I've been working on these past few weeks. And the second thing is being really good with my routine and going to bed at 10 o'clock. And
Yeah.
that means turning everything off by 8 o'clock, except for tonight because I we had to record this podcast because I fucked up over the weekend, and so we had to make this thing happen. Otherwise, and I'll still be in bed by 10. Everything else is pretty much good to go. Um, but that's been the biggest focus, and that also has been not just going to bed at 10, but going to bed at the same time, waking up at the same time, doing the same morning routine, doing the same night routine has really, I think, been helping, has made these last 2 weeks, like I said, where the mileage has been going up, a lot more doable. So that's been some of the biggest changes in the past few weeks. How about you?
Yeah, man. I love hearing that. Because I've been doing the same with my night routine. So I'll start there, like night and morning. So night, definitely I'm not as good as you with the 8 p.m., but more I'm like between 8:30 and 9:30. Everything's off. Most of the time my phone is off already by 8, but sometimes if I have to do any kind of editing work, I'll do that up until about 9. And sometimes Karina will be watching like something on her computer and whatever. So I count that as blue light still hitting my eyes because she's like right next to me while I'm
Mm-hmm.
reading. And she wears headphones, but like the blue light is there, and she tries her best with the Flux app and all that stuff, but you're still getting some blue light in. So I have my blue light blocking glasses, but I've been passing out like 9:30. for the last
Mm,
week. Since the time change, I've been just like knocked out by like
mm,
9:30, which is good because that means I've been getting up like 5:30 in the morning.
yeah.
Been doing some mindfulness, so meditating in the morning. Then I'll stretch out a bit, and I've been running in the morning and doing my workouts in the morning before the day starts. If you saw my story today, which is what, November 9th, I ran in 34-degree weather for the first time, and that was challenging, man. Like, and I want to do it. I did it on purpose. Like, I saw yesterday, and I was like, "Ooh, I could wait till, my lunch break, like 12 o'clock, 12:30, where the sun is out, and just run in 50-degree weather and be perfect." And I was like, "No, you need a little extra challenge. It's only a 3-mile run
Mm,
this morning." So I was like, "Just do it, man." It was freezing, man. Like, to the point that, when frost starts to grow on your eyelashes, that
it was
began to
really
happen.
that cold.
It was that cold, and it's 34
Wow.
degrees. So I didn't think it was like so cold that I'd start getting like little icicles in my eyelashes or little icicles in my mustache. And
Mm,
by the second mile, I noticed like I didn't feel myself sweating. I was a little bundled. I didn't feel any of that. But then I like went to go rub my eye as I was running, and I just felt the icicles. And I was just like, whoa, it's freezing, man. Luckily, I bought some gloves, so my hands were okay because I saw someone running and he looked like he was trying to like pull his like sleeves all the way to cover his
mm, mm,
hands.
mm,
But I think the morning run has helped because it's challenging me in a different environment. Like I was running in the summer, it was super hot. I was like crazy drenched sweat, and now it's like this really cold, time to be running. So I'm just like trying to adapt to that. Um, so I've been doing that more. I've been stacking my workouts. I know that Mondays is like a stack. It's like you do your strength and conditioning and your run, and then
mhm,
like you do a run, there's a break, and then you do another strength and conditioning day, and then 2 days of running. What I've done is to give myself an extra day because, like you mentioned, like the mobility part, the twisting, the moving, doing all those things. I was like, I haven't been doing yoga. So what I
mm,
started for the last 2 weeks, what I've done is I started implementing yoga, hour-long session. It's not an easy one. It's still pretty challenging on Saturdays. So what I do now is stack my strength and conditioning and my run on Thursday, do my long run on Friday, so that Saturday I can do a long yoga, stretch myself out, and then Sunday is kind of an active rest day. I still do like 30, 45 minutes of
mm,
stretching um, to make sure my limbs are correct. Because after doing my 6 mile for the first time last week, I felt that so bad, like
mm.
so bad. My
How
leg.
was that, bro? How was that for you?
I mean, it took about, I think it was 57 minutes in total. I didn't know where to run because I was like, if I run too far, then I'm gonna be like get lost running back home. So I kept like going around the same place, and it just felt forever long, man. Like, you hit 3 miles, you're like, am I close to done? It's like, nope, you're halfway.
Yeah,
You're like,
yeah, man. Yeah.
damn. I was lucky. I'm lucky. I'm listening to Matthew McConaughey's book Green Lights, and his enthusiasm while he's reading the book is fantastic. Like I love it. It's probably the best audiobook I've heard since
He is an actor,
he
so
is an actor, exactly. So he's and the Texas accent just puts a cherry on. So luckily I've been listening to that, but I'm like, I need to do this without listening to anything because during the
Mhm.
race, that's not gonna be a thing. Like I'm not gonna be listening to anything. I'm just gonna be with myself.
You're
So
not gonna listen to music during the race?
I don't even know if you can. Can you?
Mm, mm,
It's a
I
good
don't know.
question, right?
If
Yeah,
you can, I will. But if you can't listen, I mean, yeah, I feel like just the excitement of the moment will
right.
be more than enough
Yeah.
to take it all in.
But I like the fact that I can, I know I have in my head when I'm running, especially the 6 mile, for instance, like certain miles, I'll be like, what gear am I going into? And that's how I see it. Like, first gear, I'm like running at maybe 14 minutes of pace. Then second gear, I'll go to 11 minutes. Third gear is my 9 minutes. Fourth gear is 8. And then I haven't really, gone under 8 minutes really, because that's like a full on sprint in a sense. So I've been playing around with like shifting my gears depending on like what mileage I'm in. And then when I see another runner, I'm like, I need to pass this person because that's going to be a race eventually, right? So if I see someone ahead of me, I'll be like, what's the best way to find like a way that I can keep my energy but keep going at a steady pace, move past them, maybe get some speed and then slow down a bit. And then I just play around with that. So I've been like just mind games to keep yourself busy because those long
Yeah,
runs, man, they just feel long.
yeah, man, they feel long. And I will say though, like the other day was my second time. I'm sorry, third time running 7 miles, and it gets easier. Like it becomes the new norm in a sense.
Right.
So you start realizing like, oh, 7 miles really isn't that bad, or 6 miles really isn't that bad. Um, once you start really picking up, uh, yeah, the mileage on it. Um, and yeah, for me personally, like I actually really like running in the middle of the day. That's what I've noticed. And I mean, you're right. If you just want to do like a mental, like if you just want to mind fuck yourself, yeah, do the early morning shit or the late night shit because it is a mind fuck, right? You're not doing it for optimal performance. You're doing it because you're trying to struggle. Um, but for me, I was like, I want to like, I wanted to, I wanted to like have a tactical advantage, right? So I wanted to do it at a time where, and some people, for some people, that early morning run, like if you like it, if that's the good time for you, and you feel like you're getting it done, then that's great. I was doing the early mornings in the beginning, but then for me, I found that I would do one if I would train or run early in the morning by the time I got home and I had to get started for work, like I was just not in the headspace because I would finish my workout, I would eat, and then by the time I ate, I was just like, uh, like I just didn't want to fucking do anything. So for me, it was more like I'd rather do some mobility, get some of the harder things of the day done, and
Hmm.
then once I have those things done, I can then go push it. And that's what I found that works for me.
Yeah.
And yeah, similar to what you're saying about the gear stuff, like that's actually a real thing when you think about heart rate zones.
Right.
So what it sounded like is like you were just talking about the different heart rate zones, and you've kind of figured out where those spaces are for you. Based on a friend of mine, Tatiana, who's a running coach, she said typically for most runs, especially the long runs, you kind of want to stay in zone two, which is probably like your 11 minute a mile pace, 11, 10 minute a mile pace, where you're still able to like take deep breaths or like breathe. Like you're still able to do nasal breathing at a
Hmm.
relatively okay pace. You're not like, there's no like, or like loss of breath. And then obviously from there, you're going to have more irregular breathing. But yeah, I mean, that's great. That's a great way of framing it if you don't have something where you're tracking your heart rate,
Hmm.
you just start framing it from where is your energy levels and what are these different gears that that like, okay, when I'm doing 9 minutes a mile, this is how hard I'm pushing, or I'm doing 8 minutes or 10, that's awesome. And I know you also mentioned to me the other day that you started implementing speed work as well, correct?
Yeah. So one on my second to least amount of mileage. So I think later on this week I have a 4 miler. It's just a 4 mile day period. I'll do speed work where like for a half mile, I'll just like bump it up, just like push it and then like really tone it down. And then like wait another mile and then I'll push it again. And then the final mile, I'll push it like at most. So it's like, oh, this is what I want to use when I'm in the race and I'm at that last half a mile. Like I want to be able to just go, like full speed without having to like stop until I hit the finish line. So I'm
Yeah.
trying to change. I mean, I got that idea from one of my colleagues at work, has done multiple half marathons around the states. His goal is to do every single one in the state, every state at least, a half marathon in every single state. And he's done, I think, 12. Because that's what he told me. That's how you train your speed work. It's just by doing that whenever you can, especially on your low mileage days, like have a day where you're going to work on speed. So I've just been doing that to get my heart rate used to being in that zone.
Hmm.
And then I'm getting better. Like my sprints are getting better, and a few of the strength and conditioning workouts that you shared with me. There's some sprint and like football type of work.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, well, football players have to utilize like those same kind of
Explosive.
things, you know? So I've been utilizing like all those and taking advantage because I think there's something to it with
Yeah.
there's a steady pace and then speed, um, and be able to go back to your steady pace. And
Hmm.
obviously that's where I think mobility comes in and having the right sneakers and the right clothes and all that stuff come into play. You have a little bit of an advantage, but I don't know. You tell me.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's funny you bring up sneakers because I know you got some new ones recently, and I'm starting to feel mine. They're beginning to die out on me. The bounce is starting to go a little bit, and I
Wow.
had these Brooks for years, for a few years now, probably almost coming up on 2.5 years.
Oh wow.
Um, and but when I mostly before starting to train for this race, I used them mostly when I was in living in San Diego. I listened to actually most of Musashi, listening to running in those shoes, which was a great time at the time. Uh, but I probably ran maybe max like 30 miles when I was out there. Probably did another 20 miles when I was here in New York. I remember I actually started running in them when I finished David Goggins' book,
Oh
and
yeah.
and I was waking up my girlfriend at like 5 in the morning to in the middle of winter to go run, and she hated my existence. She hated me so much. And I was just like, and I was like, I'm gonna do this forever. I'm gonna do this every day forever. And that quickly died. Um, as soon as the motivation went away. But that book was awesome. If anyone hasn't read it yet, it's a great
Well,
book.
definitely get you up off your ass to go out and run. But
Yeah, actually, I was one of our buddies had his birthday was over the weekend, and so um, we all went to dinner. And one of his friends from Connecticut came out, and Nikita, me and him were just started talking with this dude, and he used to be a smoker. Check this out. This is a cool ass story. He used to be a smoker like 2 years ago. He was just smoking cigarettes every day, and then this guy, one of his coworkers, gave him the "Can't Hurt Me" book, and was like, "I'm gonna give this to you. You read it, and I don't want it back. Just pass it on to another person. Like, read this book and then give it to somebody else." He read the book. He immediately quit smoking. He started running. He started taking jujitsu, and just like a few weeks ago, he did a marathon. He went all the way to New York City. He signed up for the New York Marathon. It obviously got canceled because of COVID, but he was like, "Fuck it, I trained for this." He drove all the way from Connecticut to New York by himself and just did the marathon in the city. He just
that's
did
some
it.
badassery right there.
Yeah, he just did, and he hasn't smoked cigarettes since.
That's amazing, man. And that's
Yeah,
that's more stories, and this is why you and I like big advocate of books.
yeah,
That's the best gift you can give. I mean, you've given me books for my birthday. I've given you books for
yeah,
your birthday that have done, that have shifted my mind in so many ways. Um, I think that's vital, man. It's so vital to have that kind of inspiration as well, especially someone like Goggins, and you hear his story. I mean, it's just crazy, man. I
yeah.
love hearing shit like that. I got
Yeah,
goose.
it was awesome. It was awesome to hear because I never, I like for like I'm the only person I know who, I mean, outside of you, like I know his book really impacted you as well.
Mhm.
But his book came to me during a time where I was really just like a piece of shit. And that, I wasn't a piece of shit, but I wasn't like I made so many excuses for myself all the time as to like why I couldn't be at a certain level. And his book was really the start of like there are zero excuses for why you can't. Like he just opened up the potential for what's actually possible, no
Right.
matter where you come from. He just opened up that potential of like, wow, you could actually really start from anywhere and become fucking awesome if you figure out your brain.
And you
Um,
do it for yourself. Like he's not doing it for anyone else. He doesn't give a shit. He's like, I do this to battle myself, like the man in the mirror.
yeah,
I'm just like,
exactly.
fuck, man, this guy's intense, but I
Yeah,
love it.
yeah, yeah. So he was definitely the start there for that. I don't know why I brought this up. Where were we going with all this?
I don't know. We went from sneakers to
Sneakers, yeah. So my sneakers are so I did that, and then since then we started training because on the Strava app you can actually record. Um, you can actually record, like you can upload what shoes you own, and then it records how much mileage you've done on them. Because I know that typically like you want to change out your sneakers every between every like 250 to 300 miles. That's when you want to switch them out because they're. I mean, that's at least what I heard from my running coach and just from online and shit like that. And so on the app, I've done about like 170 plus miles already on these shoes.
wow.
Uh, that's how much we've been training, bro. About 170 miles on the shoes, and then you add the other, so it's already over 200 miles. So in probably like by December, I'll probably pick up another pair
That's
of.
what I was
I want
thinking.
to get some like really loud, highlighted, fucking either red or green uh, kicks.
Yeah, I feel you. And good news is for those, well, I'll talk about my experience in the next one, but um I'm shifting the schedule a little bit because since I'm leaving in New York on a Thursday and my whole day is gonna be flying, like literally I leave San Francisco 7 a.m. I don't arrive into New York until 7:46 because I have a 3 hour layover in LA.
Damn.
So I was like, I'm just gonna do yoga that day. So I'm kind of like shifting my schedule to like get used to it for next week.
Hmm.
So on Wednesday, I'm going out for a run. I have off because it's Veterans Day. So I was like, I'm gonna wake up early and go run a trail, like a full trail, not like the one that I do that's here because it's just mostly flat, with a few little small hills. And I want to do some shit that has like elevation, you know? So I'll be coming back with that experience next week, but
That's
planning on
awesome.
doing that on Wednesday. So I'm super excited to have that because I haven't even used the trail running sneakers that I bought because it's
Mhm.
like, that I need those for like a real trail that might be wet or anything. That's what they're for. So they're built for that. So I'm gonna do that on Wednesday. So I'm super excited to try that out and really
That's
go
awesome.
out there and
How
challenge
many
myself
miles?
more. It's just four.
4 miles. Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
I was like, I should start with two or something, but fuck it.
Fuck it.
Fuck
Fuck it.
it.
Oh, it's nice. There's a couple trails at the park near me, um, and it's pretty nice. I'll show you when you're out here. We'll go through them. It's pretty
I'm
good.
excited. Follow us on Instagram to follow all the craziness that we'll probably get into.
Oh, dude, it's gonna be awesome. Have a good time down here. We're gonna do some things. We'll talk about those things too, but we're gonna do some things while you're out here. Um, what else? So yeah, so that's been the experience so far. As far as nutrition goes, uh, I have been, as you guys know, I've been working with a coach. So one, the supplementation has been pretty good. It's been pretty great actually. Um, Something I highly recommend, um, if anyone's interested in trying out, is these nootropics called Truscriptions. Troscriptions. They make these troches, and one of their products is called Blue Canatine, and it's a mix of methylene blue, hemp crystals, nicotine, and caffeine. And it's fucking awesome. Like I had it before, but I had it on days where I felt good most of the time. So it felt good, but it didn't feel like I didn't really notice the difference. But there was the other day I was just tired, beat up, like I was done. And then I had a half a dose of one of these troches, and I was zooming through work, and it was awesome. And there's no like jitters or like come up, come down. It's pretty great. Um, you can buy a pack of them for $30 if you want to try them out. It's pretty awesome. And you can use my friends. You can even use my friend's Discount code is just Boomer, all caps, BOOMER. You just use his, you get like 50% off or something, or 10% off. But highly recommend. It's an awesome product. So that was really nice as far as like supplementation goes. I know you've been using Alpha Brain lately, and you've been enjoying that, right?
I only use it when absolutely necessary. Like if I know
Yeah.
I'm gonna have like a pretty creatively intense or we do an early podcast, I'll use it and it's like very good for recall and all that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So there's that, and then I've been working with my nutrition coach, and we've actually cut down on um, on calories just a little bit. Cut down on macros. This is actually pretty interesting. So there was a moment about a few weeks ago where I was getting just pretty tired with the food. I was eating the same shit every day, pretty lean cuts for the most part. And I had asked him because my fats are pretty low, but my carbs are on the higher end, and obviously I'm still have like 1 gram per pound of body weight for protein. And I was like, oh, can we up my fats? And he upped them by like 6 grams or something like that. Like it was negligent. And I was like, oh, like, how do you feel about actually? And I was kind of like, it was just one of those moments where it was funny because I heard Ben Greenfield talk about this, and it actually came to be pretty true, which is like when you're cutting, let's say you get on a cutting plan, usually the first month, all you really notice are strength differences. So you might get stronger, you might build some muscle, you might have better stamina, but you don't get any like really aesthetic changes until 2 months into the program. I heard Ben actually talk about this recently, and it's actually true because when I look at the progress photos and measurements of the most recent one, I was like, wow, like this is a crazy change in comparison to the beginning. And I look back at the logs, and we've actually, like, to the date, been doing it for 2 months officially. Um, and that was a little bit of a digression, but it was just really interesting. So like that's for anyone if you're starting a cutting plan and you're trying to lose body fat and you're a month in and you're like, I'm doing everything as I'm supposed to do, and why am I not seeing results? Probably just give it another month and see what happens. Cause that was like, it was literally like night and day. I was like, how did, like I was like the same. Everything was pretty much the same, give or take, for like 6 weeks. And then week 7 and week 8, it was just a drastic difference. And that was obviously just probably an accumulation of time. So I'm interested to see going into month 3, what really happens. But the point I was trying to make was I was talking to him about trying to up my fats again, because I was like, I really want some of these fattier cuts. I'm not that interested in carbohydrates really. And he was adamantly against it. And I'd love to bring someone on who has an opposing view and to have this conversation. Because I've heard we all are huge advocates of, fat in our diet and all those things. But I've had a high fat diet before. I haven't tracked the macros as diligently as I am now. But basically what he said, like, based on the amount of training that you and I are doing, just based on the amount of training I'm doing, and especially when it comes to the amount of endurance training I'm doing, stack that with the strength and conditioning. And he's like, if your goal is to continue to keep your muscle mass doing all this training, fats aren't necessarily going to be your best option. Your best option there is really going to be carbs for fueling your muscles, and also what's it called? And also like recovery. I like keto for if you're a really big guy or girl, like if you're really overweight, you have a lot of fat to lose on your body. Keto is a great place to start. But if you're relatively lean and you're trying to get leaner, he was like, I'm not a huge fan of keto for that. It's not a sustainable way to like lose body fat. And I was like, that's pretty fucking interesting. And, I haven't asked him yet, but definitely, maybe at the end of our race or a couple months from now, uh, when maybe 2 months from now, or yeah, maybe just after our race, we'll bring him on to talk about kind of what ask him, because I'm not asking too many questions about why he's doing the way he's doing things, but to really dig into why he chose what he chose for me and how we were able to move forward and get results and stuff like that. It'd be cool.
Kind of funny because like you're following like these coaches and whatever, and I'm doing everything like intuitively. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
curious to see what that looks like because I'm like I'm still doing my higher fats. I've been like craving more carbs, especially on those longer runs. Like I'm Puerto Rican, so I love my rice, and I'll implement, like especially the days that I do those long runs, I'm like, I need rice. Like and I'll have like a dish with rice in it. Or we'll make our own Chipotle bowls. We make them, we buy everything and we make them ourselves because we have the cleaner meats. But yeah, it's really, really interesting to hear that. I mean, it makes sense to a certain extent, but then you think about people on the, I don't know, like it's really hard to trust people on the internet, right? But I mean, like sources like Brandon Carter, I know he's huge in keto, the keto world. I mean, his handle is, I think, King Keto. He's
Yeah.
fucking buff,
I
and
mean, he was jacked before
that's
keto.
true.
He was always been jacked.
Yeah.
I mean,
Same thing with Thomas Delure. Like that guy that I follow, he's also pretty
huge
jacked. Just,
keto, yeah.
right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't deny that it works. I
Hmm.
don't deny that it's probably very beneficial. One thing I'll definitely admit is when it comes to insulin, like no question, keto is better because the how quickly I get hungry now is so saddening to me. Like I just get hungry so fast, or the feeling of hunger because I'm so used to pumping, carbohydrates into my body. And so like I'm constantly fueling myself. Um, but I will say, no matter the amount of endurance training I've been doing, I have built muscle over these past few months, and continue to maintain it, even with the amount of running that we're doing. So something's going right, and um, at the end of the day, because I was also like, everything I've been taught and learned is keto's fucking awesome. And it was actually, like I said, it was during that point where uh, the results were coming in very slowly to the amount of effort I was giving. And I was really on the brink of just like, fuck this. Like, let me just stop. I'm going to fucking get my short ribs, or I'm going to get my nice ass fucking steaks and go back to eating the way I do. But a little voice in my head was like, how many times have you done this? How many times have you just fucking quit on something because it was uncomfortable, or like you made up a reason why you should quit on something?
Right.
And I was like, a lot of fucking times. So shut the fuck up. Just follow this program. You already paid the money for it. Just follow it until its completion and see what happens. And lo and behold, 2 weeks later, we're rocking and rolling. So yeah, we'll see, but hey man, if you're liking the results you're seeing based on what you're doing, fucking awesome. Keep
Right.
keep
I mean,
rocking out.
that's kind of what I've been. Obviously, one of the biggest things recently was getting rid of the Whoop that we were both using. Um, Mostly because it was like for two of us to have it, it's like $60 a month. I was like, I'd rather put that into a savings account because we're really going hardcore with our investments and just like building multiple different savings accounts. So we wanted to allocate money more strategically.
Yeah.
But and that was one of the things that was on the chopping block anyway because of all the issues that Karina was having. And then for like a week, I remember I took it off one day because it died, and I didn't use it for like 2 weeks. And I was just like, okay, like that's it. I'm gonna get
Yeah,
rid of it.
you don't need it.
Yeah, I was like, why do I still have it? It was in my drawer, dead for 2 weeks. So I was just like, you know what? Forget it. And I also hated like whenever I used to swing the kettlebell around on steel mace, it would always be in my way.
Mm.
But we decided to get rid of it. It was great. I mean, we had it for 6 months. We got to play with it. So we got an idea of like sleep, what affects us, what foods affect us, right? Obviously, I mean, I know we had a bad weekend with food, so want to be transparent here. Just eating straight garbage on Saturday. I'm not even gonna like sugarcoat it. It was straight garbage because I felt like garbage yesterday.
What
uh,
did you eat?
I think
Tell the people what you did, Ruben.
let's tell the people what I did. Occasionally this happens, it's few and far in between, but sometimes we have a full day of just eating out. So we started the day. I didn't have something too bad. I had an acai bowl from one of my favorite spots. Everything's organic and local. They're expensive, so I only have them like once or twice a month. But I was just like, I want to have an acai bowl. So I went and got that. Has like maca in it and all these beautiful, amazing things. They put bee pollen in it. It's allergy season. It's good to get your honey and bee pollen in. Um, so I ate that, and then I had my Magic Spoon cereal. So it wasn't too bad. Once again, like
That's how it starts, you know what I'm saying?
right,
It's the healthy snacks. That's where it begins. It begins
right,
with healthy snacks. You know,
right. I
oh,
had the
it's good
magic.
for me and it tastes good.
The
And then it
Magic Spoon
snowballs.
cereal. I mixed the chocolate and the peanut butter together. It's freaking amazing. But I never what I love about Magic Spoon cereal and why I continue to buy it over and over again is it doesn't make me feel like what other cereals would make me feel like Apple Jacks and all those other favorites. Like would feel all bloated, I get really gassy and all that. Magic Spoon doesn't do any of that, bro. I don't get bloated, I don't feel gassy. It's high in protein, it's no sugar, it's completely grain free. It's expensive, so I don't really get it often. But when I have a little extra money to spend, I'll grab four because they only sell by 4 boxes. So highly recommend it for those people who are trying to stay away from as many carbs as possible and being very strategic on how they want to eat their childhood favorites. So I had a Magic Spoon bowl of cereal, and then we went to the Burt Kreischer comedy show, which
Yo,
was
how was that? We didn't even talk about it.
I know it was amazing. Like it was an interesting experience for us because you're in your car. So we have a little Prius, so you can put down the back and open up the back, and we like kind of laid out and just watched it because he had two giant screens and him, so we can kind of watch him on the screens. It was awesome. But the mistake we did was that before we went, we decided to get pizza, Italian style pizzas, and not like New York style because California can mess with New York pizza. So we get the Italian style, which is still pretty good. It's thin cut, they're smaller. So we're like, oh, this is probably a good version. But the mistake for me was getting a white pizza with mushrooms and some ricotta cheese.
Hmm.
Not good for me with the way my body reacts. Like the margarita we got, great, not too much cheese. I'm okay with that. But I'm lactose intolerant.
You literally just had a ball of lactose. That's what you
Pretty
did.
much. Way it gets better. Karina decides to fucking take an edible because we're in California, it's completely legal to do that. She takes an edible, obviously gets the munchies once the show is done. The show is done pretty early. It finished at like 6:45. We drive. She's like, I want tacos. I was just like, that actually sounds like a great idea.
That actually sounds like a great idea.
So we drive to our favorite taco spot, which is literally walking distance from where we live right now. And we get tacos. I got my lengua tacos, so that's beef tongue. Sorry, vegans, but I love organ meat. Um, got that and al pastor, and then we got nachos with it. And guess what the nachos had on it?
Jeez.
And sour cream. It was
Oh,
delicious.
oh.
So I ate that, and bro, it was not a good time yesterday. It was just not a good time.
Well, it was funny because I texted you and I was like, I know you were upset because the whale watching was closed, but I
Yeah.
texted you and I was like, how's the rest of your day? And you just gave me the shrugged shoulders
Yep.
emoji, and
Yep.
I was like, I like said something in response, and then and then I hear nothing. I was like, oh man, it must have been a shit day. That's probably mostly why. It's probably just
Oh
felt
yeah,
shit.
100%. And I'm definitely, and I remember reading this in a book back in the day, but it's like whatever you eat, your body has to deal with it for about 2 days before everything is gone. Whether you shit it out, pee it out, or your body absorbs the nutrients from whatever. So I'm like, it's still day two. I mean, the workout this morning, I was still good. I was fine. I fasted my 16-8. I'm still doing that. And I was fine. Like doing a nice 16-8 is like perfect. But I feel like the way we're training right now, like doing a 24-hour probably isn't too smart. So I haven't done a 24-hour fast, but I was tempted. But luckily we use certain kind of supplements. Karina gets this monthly thing and it's called gut check. So whenever
Mhm.
you have bad food, you take like three of them pills and they usually remove the bloat and help you, go to the bathroom. Um, so I took that night. So it kind of helped with the bloatiness of yesterday. But the fact that I had to wake up this morning and be like, I gotta go run and do some strength work. Um, but we had clean food last night. We did a keto Chipotle bowl last night with some pork butt. That's my Spanish side coming through. But this
That
today I was just like,
that pork butt is fatty, bro. That shit
yeah.
is so fatty.
That's why I had like I told Karina, I was like, I think I can't eat as much fat, especially like eating it at night. I have to chill. So like I took a little bit. I was like, I'll just enjoy this and we're gonna eat it again tonight. Same thing. I'm like, because we had leftovers, I'm like, just a little bit. Cause bro, like it's so fatty, it turns your brain on and you're just like, I'm awake, I have energy, I need to do things. At least
Yeah,
that's what happens to me every time I have fatty cuts of meat. I just get super energized.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I gotta, I'll be 100% clear here too. Like even uh I've noticed this within myself, only because it's never intentional. It's more of like I'm typically around this area most of the time, so I say as if it's like it may come off as if like this is how I am 100%, but like when I say everything's off by 8 and I'm in bed by 10, that's most of the time. But there are days where I'm in bed at, closer to 11, or I shut things down. Like tonight, I shut things down later in the evening. Like that happens, same thing with the diet. Like just because and this was actually something I had to learn because um, my thought process used to be I'm either 100% or
Zero.
I'm 0%. Like those are the two options. I'm either doing everything perfectly or I'm doing nothing at all. And that is not a sustainable way to reach your goals. So one of the things that I did going into this nutrition plan is, I was about a month and a half in. I was tired of eating all the same fucking food, and I told you this, and I had myself some Shake Shack, but I did it smartly. I knew I was gonna go over calories and all that shit because it's fucking Shake Shack, and I'm not counting it. I'm just gonna fucking eat it because I want to eat it. And that was just a neurological break. It was like, let's just take a moment here. Let's enjoy this. I had a black and white shake. Yo, black and white shakes are fucking awesome.
I
I had a
know.
black and white. I
It's the
had a
same when I
black and
go
white
to,
shake.
you should see
I
my
had-
meal when I go to In and Out, which is like very rare now, but bro, it's the same. Like the shakes from In and Out, the you can get a black and white there too. It's
yeah,
stupid. It's like, why is this so good?
so good. It's crazy. I had a black and white shake. I had fucking fries, and two shake burgers, right? Shack burgers or stack burgers? Not shack burgers. I had two shack burgers, fries, and that motherfucking shake, and I was so happy.
Hold on, I
Uh,
got a question for you.
huh?
When you eat, because that sounds big, right? When you eat, does Val like your partner, Val, for those he just mentioned earlier, but does she like judge you or like say something like, what the hell? Why are you eating so much? Did she do that to you?
No, because she knows I'm a creature. She knows I'm just an animal. Um,
Yeah.
and like she's seen me eat like ridiculous amounts of food before. Um, she's always like, I get pissed off at her more because she never finishes her food, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
all right, let me get that,
Wait,
pass that. you
That's
know.
good, man. I wish my girl did that shit.
No, but Karina likes food. Karina like loves
She
food. So,
loves. I mean, so much that she fights me when I eat too much. And I'm like, do
oh
you
really?
understand what my day was like in terms of like working out? I'm like, calorically, I need to like eat. So she'll like we'll have dinner and she's like, I thought we were gonna have leftovers because my plate would be gigantic. I'm like,
That's
yeah,
hilarious.
all I have today was maybe like, because most of the time, especially if I had a busy day like today, most of the time I'll just have like a quick protein shake. Maybe I have some time to make some eggs, and that's it. And that's it. That's all I have. So by the time dinner rolls around, I had just worked out this morning. My body is just like, what are you doing? I need nutrients. So like my dinner will just be huge. And she's just like, oh, we were gonna have
That's
leftovers. I'm just like, I need
hilarious.
to
You
eat.
get that's so fucking funny. I can't even match that. That's so funny that you're just eating and she's like, I wanted this for tomorrow.
Right, I wanted this for tomorrow. I wanted to eat this for breakfast. I love her though. Like it's funny because she does check me sometimes, and I'm like, should I be eating this much? I ate pretty big this
Well,
morning.
I mean, I also know you're a fucking creature too because
Yeah, man.
I hear stories that you just eat whole chickens, and I'm like, I don't know how you do that.
Yeah,
Like an entire fucking chicken.
yeah.
So
I haven't done that since we went to that beach that one time, and I literally like because when you bring snacks to the beach, it's usually like chips and like all this bullshit, and I'm like, nah, I need to eat clean. And then I ran 3 miles in the sand, so I was like dying, and I was just like, luckily we bought this whole entire chicken. And I just demolished the whole entire chicken.
that's fucking hilarious.
You never
Well,
did
we're gonna get when you're out here, we'll get some nice chicken from the butcher shop,
that?
rotisserie. I mean, pasture raised chicken. It'll be good. It'll be a good time. That's fucking funny though,
We
man.
should record that and show the peeps. Like, yeah, it's easy to eat a whole chicken. Trust me, it's not hard.
Whatever, man.
You don't get full, man.
I can't eat a whole chicken in one sitting.
What?
Especially chicken. Like chicken's really filling for me.
Really? I
Yeah,
guess
it's really
your
filling.
bodies are different.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Meat
yeah,
in general, meat for me, like especially if it's fattier cuts of meat, I get full pretty fast.
yeah. Well, I mean, I did carnivore, so when I did that, like I used to hammer down 2 steaks and some ground beef in one sitting.
I couldn't do that. I couldn't do it.
You know,
I mean, I could, but like I wouldn't like it. I'd just be like, fuck my life.
fuck
Like,
it. That's
yeah.
that's me with carbs. That's how I felt Saturday night after 2 pizzas and then tacos. And it happens occasionally. Like, yeah, like people are like, oh, you're a nutrition and like you're a coach and you do all this. I'm like, yes, 80% of the time. 20%
I
of the
would
time.
say even more. I'd probably say you probably do like 90% of the time.
I mean, yeah. I mean, Friday we had bad stuff as well. Forget what we had on Friday. But also Saturday, that's why I got the acai bowl because I was like, yo, we did pretty bad last night. Let me like you know, balance it here. I ain't do no balance. I barely moved the needle.
Funny. So funny.
But it's all right to do. And I know like right now we're like, let's chill because when we go to New York, we want to go out and have our favorite things. So we don't want to like keep ourselves. And that's part of this, right? Like part of this is also having a good time and be able to enjoy life. That's why it doesn't have to be 100% or 0%, like you said, with the whole
Yeah.
diets and all that stuff. It's just like, hey, whatever makes you happy, but just be conscious of what you're doing. Like that's what it's really about. And
Sure. Yeah.
personal training is even more so for us because one wrong thing, you ate this wrong thing out at a sushi restaurant, for instance, and you're out for 2 or 3 days, boom, your training is already, you're already getting weaker. So it's just like, oh shit, I don't want
Meanwhile, that person you're competing against is only getting stronger. So
exactly. So I've been like very, very careful, like how much. Like I know we messed up like on Saturday, but even then I was just like, all right, what supplements do I have? What do I need to do tomorrow? Cool. I took the supplements I needed to take because we have supplements specifically for that. And then it's just like I know I have to, drink certain kinds of teas that I have in the for your stomach for like to help you with the digestion process. And then it's like, what am I gonna eat to heal the gut? And like, what am I gonna. So I'm already like planning it out, even though Saturday we had a bad day, and I knew that was coming. I knew we were gonna have pizza, so I was already like Friday night thinking about what am I gonna do on Sunday, how I'm gonna recover from that. So,
Yeah.
folks, it's not just happening like in the whim, it's happening with a plan to recover from it, even though it's bad food. And most people are like, I feel fine after eating it. It's like, but are you optimal? Right? Like, that's the biggest question. So, I had that plan and I take the supplements I need to take. I mean, when I go to New York, you'll see like I'm gonna have a huge jar of just my supplements. You gotta be ready, man. You need those things to help you out. I'm well aware, probably more than me.
When it comes to supplements, I mean, I'm taking a fuck ton right now. So absolutely, yeah. I mean, one of my favorite supplements that I found that really works when if you're eating out, because I think one of the biggest crimes when eating out is definitely gluten,
Yeah.
uh, and for a lot of people, and we got this thing called Gluten Guardian from Bioptimizers,
Yeah,
and
I'm
I
gonna order
found
some of their stuff when I get back from New York. I'm gonna order the
yeah,
magnesium, the gluten guardian, and the masszymes and try
yeah,
it.
exactly. Yeah, they're great. I take Mazzzymes with every meal now. I take their
Oh wow,
instant.
so you do use masszymes.
Yeah, I take it with every meal. Because, well, one, because the guy Boomer, who helped me with all my, blood work and nutrition and stuff like that, that I talked about in previous episodes, he takes it anytime he eats meat. He takes a Mazzzyme to help digest the meat better. So I've been taking it with every meal. Um, it's pretty good. So yeah, man. I
That's
feel
our
like
update, folks.
that's the update. That is the update. So stay tuned for another one. The next time you'll be, what is it the next time?
Yeah, next time I'll be in New York.
Yes, the next time we'll be having this conversation will be in person. Um, we'll probably do a Spartan Journal and another side podcast where we kind of just go deep with each other, and it'll be a good time. Maybe we'll microdose on some mushrooms beforehand. Who knows what'll happen? So, um, we'll talk to you guys soon. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. As always, you can hit us up on the gram. Give us 5 stars if you like the episode. Share it with a friend. We have an awesome episode coming out next week. And then we have another guest in just a few weeks who is just a badass. So stay tuned. We got some incredible episodes. And Ruben, why don't you remind everybody why we're growing these mustaches? What are they for?
It is Movember, people. So if you can, please donate in the link below to support our men around the states and the world with things in the prostate cancer. What's the other cancer? Testicular cancer,
The other
and mental
answer.
health for young men. But all the links will be in the show notes, so please support those folks. We're just asking for money because it's something we're super passionate about. Enjoy the stashes if you follow us on Instagram. And until then, folks,
And they could donate as much as whatever they want, right? There's
whatever
no
you want, I think
dollar, $5, $10,
200, three
$20,
hundred
doesn't
dollars,
matter.
however much you want.
Yeah.
Um, and the site is amazing. So if you want to do a dig into the Movember website, it's all there. They have statistics and data for all these things. Please, please, please take the time to look at that because we all have brothers, fathers, cousins, uncles whom we love. So support them. All right, folks. But with that,
Support your homies.
support your homies, support your
And on that,
brothers.
have a great week, guys.
Much love,
Peace.
y'all. Peace.